Drugs and poker unfortunately seem to go hand in hand. And we've covered this many times in our videos, from Sean Chacon and his marijuana arrest to Stu Unger and his issues with substance abuse. But when it comes to poker player Al Krux, things seem to spiral out of control. 40 pounds out of control to be exact. We're gonna get into it all, but before we do, we wanted to give a shout out to ChrisStar4523 for suggesting this topic. And if there's a topic you want us to cover, make sure to let us know in the comments. We might just cover your suggestion as well. Okay, here we go. Born and raised in North Carolina, Al Crux's upbringing was rooted in modesty, with hard work and perseverance instilled in him by his blue-collar parents. Growing up in a tight-knit family, Krux learned the value of determination and resilience from an early age, qualities that would later serve him well in the tumultuous world of professional poker.
I wasn't a fan of schooling, so that's one of the reasons why I got into, because at an early age I saw gambling as a way to survive.
It's reported that it was during his college years that Krux first dipped his toes into the alluring world of poker. Drawn to the strategic depth and psychological warfare of the game, he quickly found himself immersed in its intricacies. What began as a casual pastime soon blossomed into a full-blown passion, as Krux honed his skills with focus and dedication. Krux was always a person with money at the forefront of his mind, and before becoming a professional poker player, Krux was involved in the diamond business, specifically as a diamond merchant.
I was talked into going to diamonds or gemology school, and I took that up and just studied diamonds for about 20 years and played with it a little bit. Not a big deal.
But he believed there was more money to be made at the tables. Crux's ascent to poker stardom was rapid, marked by a string of impressive victories. From the smoky back rooms of underground clubs to the glittering halls of prestigious tournaments, his name quickly became synonymous with success.
Did a lot of winning, small-time winning, back in the 60s. And then just kept graduating till I came out here around 1970, and this was another world.
Impressively, he made the final table of the WSOP main event on 3 occasions. He came 6th in 1990, 5th in 1994, and 6th again in 2004, where he was taken out by the eventual winner of that year's main event, Greg Fossilman Raymer. And according to the Hendon mob, he accumulated over $1.5 million in cashes during his career. But amidst the euphoria of triumph, darkness loomed on the horizon. In a stunning turn of events, Krux found himself ensnared in a web of controversy following a high-profile marijuana bust. The news quickly tarnished his reputation and cast a shadow over his once illustrious career. Back in 2011, after tips were given to the DeWitt Police Department about suspicious activity, both Al Krux, along with his son, Adam Krux, were arrested on felony marijuana charges and charged with first-degree criminal possession of marijuana. The younger Krux was also charged with criminal possession of a controlled substance. The amount in question was substantial, with 40 pounds of marijuana, 90 marijuana plants, and $5,000 in cash confiscated during the investigation. Al Krux reportedly had 25 pounds of marijuana in his vehicle, while Adam had 15 pounds inside of his at the time of the arrest. It's reported that police also found stronger substances such as heroin and cocaine during the bust. Both father and son were arraigned in DeWitt Town Court and held on $20,000 bail. And since this all played out, news on Al Krux has really gone radio silent. It's unclear as to where he is today, whether that be in prison or walking free. One thing is clear though, he's not at the poker tables. But like we mentioned earlier, poker and drugs have gone hand in hand throughout the years. Doing a bit of a deep dive on the subject, we have many players who have fallen prey to substance abuse. Let's start with Dan Bilzerian, who survived 3 heart attacks, something he attributes to his use of a dangerous cocktail of ecstasy, cocaine, and Viagra.
I did some cocaine, and he's like, and I was like, and I did some Viagra, and like my girlfriend's, at this point, my dad's like looked over at me like, what the f?
As of late, Bilzerian has said that he doesn't do hard drugs anymore, but we can't confirm or deny. And if you want to learn all about the crazy life of Dan Bilzerian, make sure to check out our full video, All Around the Most Polarizing Man in Poker. The link is in the description. Next up, we have Greg Merson, a main event winner who became addicted to cocaine at just 18 years old.
I never really did anything in high school. Had only tried weed a few times. And then when I went to college, my kid that I met at orientation introduced me to coke.
He had the awareness to check himself into rehab at 19, he got clean, and then he relapsed after a terrible live cash session.
I lasted another like 5 months before I like full-blown relapsed.
He then got clean again in time to win the main event in 2012. A great example of how great things can come when you take your sobriety seriously.
I just want a normal life of sustained happiness and not putting myself through all this torture. I can't live a happy life unless I'm clean.
And of course, you knew we were going to discuss Mike the Mouth Matusow.
I got out of jail 3 months ago.
Unfortunately for Mike, he is not making that up.
It's said that Matusow started taking ecstasy after an abysmal performance at the 2000 World Series of Poker, which then led to harder drugs. He ended up getting busted after buying from an undercover DEA agent and was sentenced to 6 months in prison.
I went out and picked up some drugs for a friend, and as it turns out, the guy's an undercover cop, and I spent 6 months in jail.
Mike got clean in 2003 and has been doing okay ever since. We also have a video about Mike the Mouth, so click the link in the description to check that one out as well. And finally, we have to bring up Stu Ungar, one of the best to ever play the game. Ungar began using cocaine in 1979 after the death of his mother and quickly became addicted. On the third day of the 1990 WSOP main event, Ungar was found unconscious after a cocaine overdose in his hotel room.
I'm telling you, he was horrible shape that day.
Yeah.
He looked horrible. And on the first break, I can remember clearly on the first break, I went up to him. And he's like, "Yes, Mike," he said, "I can't make it. I won't make it through the day," or something.
His chip lead was so large at the time that even after getting blinded out, he was still able to achieve a 9th place finish. He was found dead in a hotel room in 1997, with the cause of death being a heart condition brought on by years of drug abuse. A truly heartbreaking end to a life with so much promise. And of course, we have a video all about Stu Ungar as well, so make sure to check that out to learn more about his tragic downfall. But back to Al Krux. He'll always be remembered for his impressive play, but unfortunately, the larger story about him will be more around his arrest. Many would say that poker and substance abuse often collide due to the high-stress nature of the game, which can lead players to seek ways to cope or to enhance performance. The addictive nature of gambling, combined with the psychological effects of substances on judgment and risk-taking, can fuel a cycle of dependency. And that cycle of dependency can be dangerous.
The sweet is never as sweet without the bitter, and it's like...
Here's hoping that the association between substance abuse and poker is minimized in the future, and that we hear significantly less stories of downfall and many more of triumph.
At certain times that I wish that I could have done something in a lawyer or a doctor or something of schooling, because the heartaches really are difficult when you get kicked in this profession.
And that's it for this one. What are some other scandals or controversies in the poker world that you think we should cover? Let us know in the comments, and we might just make a video about your suggestion too. We'll see you in the next one.